Valeria Marquez, a 23-year-old Mexican beauty influencer, was tragically shot and killed during a TikTok live stream, drawing attention back to Mexico's ongoing femicide crisis.
May 13th, 2025. A 23-year-old beauty influencer sat in her salon chair, streaming to thousands on TikTok. She was laughing, chatting, and holding a stuffed pink pig. Then she looked off camera. Her face changed. "They're coming," she whispered, and seconds later, Valeria Marquez was shot dead, live, on screen, in front of everyone. What happened in that salon in Zapopan? Mexico wasn't just murder. It was a message, one captured in real time, shared across the world, and it pulled back the curtain on a darker truth about life in cartel territory. Here are 5 streamers who captured their final moments with gangs. June 23rd, 2025. Gabriel Jesus Sarmiento went live on TikTok from his home in Maracay, Venezuela. He'd been speaking out against the gangs and corrupt police that ruled his city for months. He'd received threats. He knew they were coming, and when they finally did, he made sure the world would see it. Gabriel Jesus Sarmiento wasn't just another TikToker. With nearly 80,000 followers, he'd become Venezuela's voice against corruption, calling out the gangs that ran Maracay City and the cops who worked with them. He named names, he exposed faces, and everyone knew it was only a matter of time before they came for him. June 23rd, 2025. Sarmiento went live on TikTok from his home. What started as another broadcast quickly descended into chaos. A woman's scream pierced through the audio, his mother frantically banging on a door somewhere in the house. Then came the unmistakable sound of gunfire. The camera shook violently as viewers watched in horror. Sarmiento's voice cut through the chaos, confirming what everyone feared. But even as bullets tore through his body, Gabriel did something extraordinary. He started naming names, desperately trying to tell his audience exactly who was responsible for the attack unfolding in real time. His words would have become crucial evidence in what was about to become Venezuela's most controversial murder case.
Ustedes que me llamaron ahorita, el William Alejo me está allanando la casa, el comisario del DCDO, enviado por Río cerca de Estrado, Piñonal, Cayota, otra Montesinos, Cisse.
He just accused William Alejandro and a commissioner from the CICPC, Venezuela's own scientific police force, of orchestrating the invasion of his home, on camera, with thousands watching. The stream continued, capturing every horrific second. Through the chaos, 2 armed men emerged in the frame, faces partially visible, weapons drawn. These weren't random criminals. This was an execution. The video was cut to black. Gabriel Jesus Sarmiento was dead at 25. But the story his live stream told had just begun circulating across Venezuela and the world. Family members later confirmed what the footage suggested. Gabriel had been shot over 9 times. His mother, whose screams echoed through the live stream, was also wounded during the assault. She survived, barely. To understand why Gabriel became a target, you have to understand what he'd been doing for months. This wasn't some casual content creator who stumbled into danger. Gabriel was systematically exposing the network of corruption that had turned Maracay into gang territory. He posted photos of suspected Tren de Aragua members. He documented police officers he claimed were extorting local businesses. He called out officials by name, accused them of kidnapping him, and warned his followers about what he called delinquent officials who work with common criminals. One of his most explosive accusations involved the Tren de Aragua leadership, specifically Hector Rustenford Guerrero, known as Niño Guerrero, one of Venezuela's most wanted criminals. The U.S. State Department had placed a $5 million bounty on his head. The Venezuelan government, meanwhile, insisted Tren de Aragua had been dismantled and basically didn't exist anymore. Gabriel's content suggested otherwise. and that made him dangerous to a lot of powerful people. In one of his final posts before the attack, Gabriel shared a photo of himself in a hood with a caption that now reads like a dark premonition. He knew they were coming. He'd publicly reported receiving death threats from both gang members and police officers. He documented being kidnapped by the DAT, the Directorate of Strategic and Tactical Actions, an elite Venezuelan police unit. Instead of protecting him, law enforcement had become part of the threat. The attack wasn't spontaneous. This was coordinated, calculated, and meant to send a message to anyone else thinking about exposing the corruption eating Venezuela from within. When Attorney General Tarek William Saab announced an official investigation into Gabriel's murder, assigning the 69th Prosecutor's Office against Organized Crime to the case, many Venezuelans viewed it with skepticism. How could the same government Gabriel accused of collusion be trusted to investigate his death? The live stream did more than document a murder. It exposed the terrifying reality of gang-state collaboration in Venezuela, where criminal organizations don't just operate alongside corrupt officials, they work in partnership with the PUM, where speaking truth doesn't get you protection, it gets you killed. Gabriel's death ignited fury across social media. Venezuelans flooded platforms with his name, demanding justice and accountability. International media picked up the story. Human rights organizations condemned what they called state-sponsored violence against activists. But behind the outrage was a chilling question. If they could execute someone this brazenly while thousands watched live, what message was that sending? The answer was clear. In Venezuela's gang-controlled territories, there are no safe spaces, not even your own home, not even with witnesses, especially not if those witnesses can only watch through a screen, powerless to help. Gabriel Jesus Sarmiento's final live stream became evidence, testimony, and warning all at once. He'd spent months trying to expose the truth about who really controlled Maracay. In the end, they made sure he'd never expose anything again. His story stands as a brutal reminder of the price some pay for refusing to stay silent. In the next story, the streamer learned too late that online fame attracts danger.
A Mexican beauty influencer has been shot dead during a TikTok live stream. 23-year-old Valeria Marquez was at the beauty salon where she worked in the central city of Zapopan.
May 13th, 2025. Valeria Marquez didn't start her day thinking about death. The 23-year-old beauty influencer sat in her own salon chair, smiling at her phone camera, chatting with over 200,000 followers about makeup and life in Zapopan, Jalisco. It was just another TikTok live stream until it became something much darker.
Moments before her death, Marquez had been chatting casually on her live stream.
No.
She was cradling a toy, unaware of the horror.
She'd been talking about something strange. Someone had come to her salon earlier, someone trying to deliver an expensive gift. But she wasn't there. The delivery guy insisted on waiting. He said it was too valuable to leave. That detail, shared live with thousands of viewers, would later become a critical piece of the investigation. Because Jalisco isn't just any Mexican state, it's the home base of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, one of the most violent criminal organizations in the Western Hemisphere.
Earlier in the live stream, Ms. Marquez seemed concerned when she told her 200,000 followers that someone had come to the salon to deliver her an expensive gift while she wasn't there.
Marquez's unease was visible on camera. She held a pink stuffed pig, fidgeting slightly. Her eyes kept darting off screen. Then, midstream, she looked up. Her expression shifted. What she said next sent chills through everyone watching. "They're coming." Those were her last public words. The audio cut. Someone had muted the stream. A voice called out, calm, almost polite. Then came the sound no one should ever have to hear. Gunshots. 3 of them. 1 to the chest, 2 to the head. The 23-year-old collapsed in her chair, the phone tumbling, capturing only the ceiling in chaos.
He struck her once in the chest and twice in the head. The young influencer died instantly, and her final moments were witnessed by viewers on TikTok.
The stream ended. Valeria Marquez was dead. What followed was a manhunt and speculation that reached straight into the heart of Mexico's cartel underworld. Authorities launched a femicide investigation, the legal term for gender-based killings. But the local media went further. They pointed to a name, Ricardo Ruiz Velasco, known in cartel circles as El Doble RR. He was a senior member of the Jalisco New Generation cartel, and according to reports, he'd been involved with Marquez, romantically, intimately. The theory? Jealousy. Marquez received gifts from admirers all the time. She was an influencer, after all. But if those gifts came from other men, and if Ruiz Velasco saw that as disrespect, the outcome was predictable in his world. Cartels don't issue warnings, they send messages. And this message was broadcast live to thousands. The killer reportedly disguised himself as a delivery driver, the very driver Marquez had mentioned on stream. He entered the salon, asked for her by name, and executed her in front of her phone camera. It was cold, professional, terrifying.
Involving intimate partners or the extreme violence. Moments before the attack, Valeria in fact appeared unsettled during a live stream, mentioning someone had come by earlier with an quote-unquote expensive gift. She was seen holding a stuffed toy and responding to a voice saying, "Hey, well."
By the time police arrived at Blossom the Beauty Lounge, the scene was already sealed in digital permanence. Forensic teams combed through evidence, red tape marked evidencia, wrapped around glass doors. Armed officers stood guard outside. But the investigation faced a familiar obstacle: impunity. In Mexico, over 95% of femicide cases go unpunished. The cartels operate with near-total freedom. Women are murdered daily, 10 every single day, according to UN data, and justice is rare. Marquez's case became a symbol, not just of femicide, but of the chilling intersection between social media fame and cartel violence. She wasn't a rival gang member. She wasn't involved in trafficking or territorial disputes. She was a young woman who built a following by sharing beauty tips and glimpses of her life. But in Jalisco, where the CJ&G controls entire municipalities, through fear and firepower, even that can be dangerous. The U.S. Department of the Treasury took notice. On June 18, 2025, they announced sanctions against 5 senior CJ&G members for drug trafficking and violence. Marquez's killing was cited specifically as an example of Mexico's femicide crisis. Among those sanctioned was Ricardo Ruiz Velasco, the man suspected of ordering her execution. It was an acknowledgement from Washington that this wasn't just a local crime. It was part of a broader pattern of organized crime terrorizing civilians, especially women. Back in Zapopan, mourners gathered outside the salon. They left flowers, they left notes. Some left questions. Why her? What had she done? The answer tragically might be nothing. In cartel territory, being close to the wrong person is enough. Being visible is enough. Being a woman is enough. Valeria Marquez's TikTok account was shut down shortly after her death. Her Instagram remains, frozen in time, a digital memorial to a life cut short. And her final live stream, though removed from public view, became evidence in a case that highlights the terrifying reality of life in Mexico's cartel zones, where violence is routine, where women are targets, and where even pressing "go live" can be a death sentence. Her murder wasn't just captured on camera, it was a performance, a brutal display of power meant to send a message to anyone watching. And in that sense, it worked. Because now, the world knows what happens when social media fame collides with cartel jealousy in Jalisco. The outcome is written in blood, broadcast live, and archived forever. The next stream reveals how fast control can vanish.
Look. Hey, I don't know make no money, man. My friend them rich. No boy try this, my friend too. More than 1,000 rifle fire for him. No!
April 28th, 2025, Red Hills Road, Jamaica. A 25-year-old TikToker was laughing, joking around with friends on a live stream. Hundreds watched in real time as he boasted about money, power, and street credibility. Then everything went silent except for the screams. Jabari Johnson, better known online as Baba Skang, was the son of reggae legend Ja Mason. But that night, his father's fame couldn't protect him from what was coming.
Uno see it already. Uno see that show you already. Stop when I look at.
I spent to play music. I am father blink, but I want Shella, man.
The live stream started like any other. Baba Skang was outside near Queenie's snack shop, filming with another content creator. They were playing games, cracking jokes, talking big. It was around 6:30 in the evening, peak hours for engagement. The kind of content that gets views, comments, donations. The kind of content that also gets attention from the wrong people. Jamaica's social media scene had become a powder keg. Young creators were using platforms like TikTok to flaunt wealth, mock rivals, and broadcast their affiliations with gangs. For some, it was clout. For others, it was survival. But for many, it was a death sentence. That evening, Baba Skang wasn't just entertaining viewers. He was sending a message. And someone was listening. Then, the sound no one expected.
When an individual approached him from behind.
Empress, leave on the last two.
Gunshots. Multiple rounds. The camera shook. Voices screamed. The stream didn't cut off immediately. Viewers watched in horror as chaos unfolded in real time. A masked gunman, dressed entirely in black, had crept up behind Johnson. He fired at point-blank range, aiming for the head and upper body. The attack was swift, calculated, and brutal. Baba Skang collapsed. The gunman fled on foot. By the time police arrived, it was too late. Jabari Johnson was pronounced dead at the scene. The video went viral within hours. But this wasn't just another shocking clip. It was a grim reminder of a disturbing trend. Jamaica had become a hotspot for targeted killings of social media influencers, and Baba Skang was the latest casualty in a deadly pattern. Just months earlier, Marlon, 41 Bushead Samuels, was gunned down in Montego Bay in December 2024. Before that, 23-year-old Xavier Naya Gang Fogo was shot dead in St. Catherine. In September 2024, Kyono Popsy Watson was murdered in broad daylight. All of them were TikTokers. All of them were young. All of them were connected to gang culture, whether by choice or by association. Authorities launched an investigation immediately, but details remained murky. No suspects were named. No clear motive was confirmed. Ja Mason, Baba Skang's father, confirmed his son's death to the Jamaica Observer, but declined to comment further. The grief was too raw. The questions were too painful. The truth is, many of these young creators weren't just chasing fame, they were chasing survival. In a country where traditional work doesn't always pay the bills, where poverty is rampant and opportunities are scarce, social media became a lifeline. But it also became a target. The gang saw these platforms as threats. Rivals were being disrespected publicly. Territories were being disrespected. Messages were being sent to enemies in front of thousands of viewers. And in Jamaica's violent underworld, disrespect is met with death. Police struggled to keep up. The St. Andrew North Police Division opened an inquiry into Johnson's murder, but progress was slow. Witnesses were reluctant to talk. Evidence was limited. The killer had disappeared into the night, and without arrests, justice seemed distant. Meanwhile, the community was in turmoil. Residents near Red Hills Road were traumatized. Some refused to leave their homes. Others spoke out, demanding action.
Jesus, I need fire! I feel just stand up and just a ball and I watch them a burn. I mean, a ball like through the things I'm a burn. I'm just my situation.
This wasn't just about one young man's death. It was about a system failing its youth. It was about a cycle of violence that seemed impossible to break. And it was about a new kind of warfare, one fought not just in the streets, but on screens in real time for the world to see. Baba Skang's killing sent shockwaves across Jamaica and beyond. His story became a cautionary tale, a warning to other young creators flirting with danger for views and donations. But the tragedy didn't stop there. Gang politics played a role too. There were whispers that Johnson had crossed the wrong people, that his online bravado had made him a target. Some said he'd gotten too close to rival factions. Others believed his father's fame had made him a symbol worth eliminating. The police, under mounting pressure, promised accountability. Officials spoke about reforms, about oversight bodies like Indicom and iProbe, working to hold law enforcement accountable. But trust was thin. Corruption allegations swirled. The community demanded transparency. Jabari, Baba Skang Johnson's death, was more than a headline. It was a mirror reflecting the harsh realities of modern Jamaica. where social media fame and gang violence collide, where youth are trapped between poverty and peril, where a single live stream can become a final broadcast. Familiar surroundings fell. Safe here, but the next case proves danger often hides behind routine moments.
Danger was already moving. No warning, no countdown, just seconds that would change everything.
Time challenge, people. Very simple and easy. Exact 6 o'clock in the morning now.
December 7th, 2022. A TikTok live stream in Jamaica. Thousands watching. Banter, laughter, the glow of phone screens lighting up the night. Then gunshots. A camera hits the ground. And just like that, Xavier Naya Gang Fogo's life ended exactly where he built it. On camera, in real time, in front of the world. This is the story of what happens when online clout collides with real-world violence, and why sometimes the most dangerous place you can be is live. Xavier Fogo wasn't always Naya Gang. Before the followers, before the freestyles and the fame, he was just a hustler from Gutters, a neighborhood in Old Harbor, St. Catherine. His start was humble, egg and plantain sandwiches, sold them right there on the street. But Xavier had bigger dreams. And when TikTok exploded in Jamaica, he found his stage. He called himself Naya Gang. The name alone told you everything. Bold, unapologetic, with just enough edge to make you wonder. He'd go live daily, cracking jokes, freestyling lyrics, challenging other creators. His personality was magnetic. By late 2022, he had nearly 250,000 followers. For a kid who used to flip sandwiches, that was the dream realized.
Yo, now everybody had this up on TikTok, so dog.
Bumbo clap, what was that? Follow, man. Bumbo clap, no dog. You see a 1st of December, bad man. When me by everybody follow me up, dog. If I see a boy or a girl thump or box in my face, it youth. A boy stop bumbo clap laugh with my bad man.
But with fame came friction. Naya Gang didn't just entertain, he provoked. He clashed with other TikTokers, talked about badness, and even flashed money. Posted videos hinting at beef, at enemies, at danger just around the corner. To his fans, it was content. To others, it was a countdown. The warnings came, some from friends, some from rivals. One night during a TikTok match with another creator named Frankie Mafia, the message was crystal clear.
Good, dog, so easy,
listen to me good. Yes, when me we run it off and I know say you're mad. You say, Waka, bro. Waka, we do your things, dog. You need to be careful where you're there, yeah?
Naya Gang laughed it off. He always did. But those who knew the streets of Jamaica understood. When someone tells you to be careful, you listen. Especially when your whole life is broadcast to thousands every single night. December 7th started like any other night. Naya Gang went live. He was sitting outside his home on Panton Lane with a friend, engaged in what TikTok calls a match. A split-screen session where two creators go back and forth, competing for viewers and gifts. The mood was light, the banter was flowing, and thousands were watching.
You look so rough as you was big, man. You can't get gunshot.
Oh well, all you, me not care if you are 9. Gunshot in your blood clot.
And then just after 9 p.m., everything changed. The man sitting next to Naya saw them first. He bolted. Naya Gang tried to run, but it was too late. The camera fell. The stream kept rolling. And what thousands of viewers saw next was chaos, overturned chairs, a black bag on the ground, scattered money, and silence where laughter used to be. Xavier Fogo was shot multiple times in the head. He was 23 years old. His co-host escaped unharmed. But Naya Gang, the persona, the promise, the dream, died right there on camera. By morning, his neighborhood was in mourning. Friends gathered at the blood-stained spot where he fell. His daughter wandered the scene, asking questions no child should have to ask. The police arrived. Deputy Superintendent Michael Campbell told reporters they had no clear motive. Naya Gang wasn't on their radar as a violence producer. There were no active gang feuds in the area. It was, in his words, still a mystery. But to those who watched Naya's content, who saw the clashes, the boasts, the displays of wealth, the mystery felt less mysterious. Jamaica's social media scene had become a minefield. Security expert Robert Finzi-Smith explained it bluntly. When you disrespect someone in front of thousands, the offense multiplies. When you flash money and success, jealousy festers. And in a country where people take things personally, where violence is close to the surface, online beefs don't stay online. Days after Naya Gang's murder, police tracked down a suspect, Romain Rumstain Thompson. He was cornered in Mayday, Manchester. After a brief confrontation and gunfire, Thompson was killed. The official story: he fired at police. They fired back. But even with Thompson dead, the questions remained. Was it gang retaliation? Jealousy over Naya's success? A personal grudge disguised as street justice? Was it planned or a spontaneous act of rage? His last live stream is still out there. Thousands saw it happen. And in a way, that's the cruelest part. His death didn't just take his life. It became content, evidence, and entertainment. Sometimes the most terrifying moments don't happen in the dark. They happen live, in front of the world, with nowhere to hide. The next story, however, captured how danger arrives quietly, without warning. November 7th, 2022. The market in Tonka bustled with its usual Thursday crowd. Vendors hawked their goods, children weaved between stalls, and somewhere in the chaos, a woman held up her phone. Mariam Cisse was doing what she does every week, live streaming the vibrant energy of her hometown. But that day, armed men moved through the crowd, and they recognized her face. Within minutes, the stream cut off. Witnesses said the men grabbed her, forced her onto a motorbike, and disappeared into the dusty roads leading out of town. Her brother was there. He saw it happen, and there was nothing he could do. Mariam wasn't just any local. She had nearly 100,000 followers on TikTok. Her videos were bright, joyful, dancing, cooking, and celebrating life in northern Mali. But she also posted something else, content that made her a target.
And shot dead in front of a crowd. No one has claimed responsibility for the influencer's execution.
Photos of herself in military fatigues, salutes, tributes to Malian soldiers, in a region controlled by Al-Qaeda-linked jihadists. That was a death sentence. The group that took her was J&M Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wal-Muslimin. They've been waging war against the Malian government since 2012, and they don't tolerate public support for the army. Mariam knew the risks. She'd even received death threats in the days before her abduction, but she kept posting. The next morning, the jihadists returned to Tonka. They brought Mariam with them, bound, blindfolded, paraded through the same streets where she used to film. They took her to Independence Square, the heart of the town, and forced the entire community to watch. Her brother was in the crowd again. This time, he couldn't look away. Mali's prime minister condemned the murder, calling it an attack on the nation itself. But condemnation doesn't bring security. The Malian army wasn't stationed in Tonka. Neither were their Russian mercenary allies. The jihadists controlled the area completely, and they wanted everyone to know it.
This occasion is both a fitting and sorrowful for us, as we take a moment to remember Miss Mariam Cisse, who was cowardly murdered by terrorist groups simply because she expressed her support for her country.
Within hours, tributes flooded Mariam's TikTok page. Her follower count surged past 150,000. Comments in dozens of languages called her a martyr, a voice silenced by fear. But the reality was simpler and darker. She pressed the record button in the wrong place, at the wrong time. And the men who killed her wanted to make sure no one else would make the same mistake. This wasn't just about one woman, it was a message. In regions like northern Mali, where militant groups patrol the streets and state control is a fiction, your phone can be a weapon against you. Filming a market, supporting your country's soldiers, even dancing in the wrong outfit can get you marked. Mariam Cisse wasn't the first content creator executed for what they posted online, and she won't be the last. In conflict zones from Iraq to Venezuela to Mexico, influencers have been hunted, kidnapped, and killed, sometimes while the camera was still rolling. Mariam's last video is still online. In it, she's smiling, dancing, radiating the kind of joy that refuses to be dimmed by fear. But that joy got her killed. And in places like Tonka, joy is a luxury you can't always afford. These weren't just streams, they were final records of how quickly attention, territory, and violence can collide, leaving no room for escape or second chances.